of everyone's time, we will go ahead and begin. So again, welcome to our inaugural ESC Toolkit Supports office hours, where we are presenting to you about a month early an opportunity to review the supports that we have crafted and engage with initiative leads that are present to be able to ask questions, and note that there are some high-level information that we cannot release until the grant is released in terms of program guidelines, but we can give you a lot of information so that you can help your LEAs in preparation for determining which grants are best fits for them. So I'm going to stop at this point and just share out with you all the initiative leads and a way to communicate. I will send a copy of this deck to everyone who had registered to attend. And then also we will be able to post the information that is in this on our website in the ESC Toolkit. So, and I will come back to this when we're doing a Q&A, so you will know who is present and who you may be able to address your questions to. So just an overall, there is an ESC corner on the LASO 3 webpage. What that does is it provides all of you the opportunity to jump into any of the provided guidance documents. The office hours here, we will link a copy to this deck. And then I believe this is being recorded, so I will be able to share that out with you in an email. We have the grant best fit guidance, which was new this year. And we have also added our grant specific one pagers. Just note the new edition, the revised edition is posted. What this contains is a little bit more of details in terms of grant start and end dates. There was some inaccuracies presented before. We've aligned them. As you know, we are working on our program guidelines all the way through, posting our grant, so the information will be revised. And so this is tentatively final until the grant opens. We are working on an FAQ doc that I will be able to share out an overview. We're still waiting on final revisions and accessibility checks before posting it. And then finally, October 1st is the anticipated launch of the prioritization eligibility guidance. We are hoping to share with you first the grants gist. So who is eligible, to be able to answer some questions in terms of who is eligible and what are my chances of getting this award. So I probably have shared a lot with what we have already done. So this is a different view of the same information that I provided to you. And then also in that ESC corner, you can see the best fit guidance doc, the grant one pager, and the two different sections that we added. The best fit is also incorporated into the grant one pager. And then if a grant has a do it now consideration, then that is also noted in the grant one pager. And then coming soon is the FAQ guidance doc, knowing that this document is something that was crafted from last year's FAQs. So we haven't launched this grant and all the webinars to collect new FAQs, but it will be added to this doc. But you could be able to take advantage of previously asked questions and the answers to that information. And it's going to look like this, separated by eligibility, application, and then by the grant specifics. So again, this is taken from last year's FAQ for LASO Cycle 2, and then revised it to pertain to LASO Cycle 3 in terms of frequently asked questions. We will have an eligibility and prioritization doc. We're still crafting what it's going to look like, but it'll be a one pager front and back to show you information to be able to answer two questions. Am I eligible for this grant, and what are my chances of being awarded? So we're adding the eligibility and the prioritization criteria so that you would be able to see which grants would best be fit for you and your LEAs. So again, this is our communication roadmap also on the LASO 3 webpage that shows the grant one pager is linked on it, FAQs. We will have office hours is right now, and then coming soon is a prioritization and eligibility guidance. We expect the ESC FAQs to be posted this week, as soon as we get all of our revisions cemented and approved by our initiative leads, and then also accessibility checked. So those are in the works right now. So I'm going to go back to leave it on the screen in terms of our contact information. And then I'm going to stop talking at this point and ask if you have any questions. We are going to capture anything in the chat as well. A meeting format doesn't have a Q&A feature, but if you add things to the chat, we will get back to you if we don't have the information, just like we do in program webinars. And also, if you want to ask a general LASO question or you're asking for a specific grant, please name that and we will see if we can get the answers to you. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our audience. So feel free to come off mute, share out your question, or drop your question in the chat.
Hi, I have a question. This is Jennifer Jones from Region 7, and it's on the tech lending grant. Does the tech lending grant allow for funding for, I know it's maybe some student technology, but does it allow for networking or infrastructure?
That is a great question. I was looking to see if our initiative lead is present. He is not. As you know, we had Lisa here last year, and Colin is now taking over that amongst all of his other responsibilities. So the tech lending grant, and I can refer back to the grant one pagers, is going to be for devices. Those devices could entail classroom devices beyond iPads, so smart, I want to say smart TVs because I was in a football mode from last night, but the interactive, use of interactive whiteboards. So that is also something, but in terms of specifics, that I would probably have to refer back to Colin to be able to answer to that. Beyond those things, I know that in our program guidelines we'll have allowable expenses, and it'll be a little bit more detailed in terms of that. But we'll take note of your question, Jennifer, and then return back with you with an answer. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
And also feel free to ask questions with any of the documents that we have shared. We'll be able to post those up and then be able to go through that to answer your questions.
Hi, I do have a question. So my district is currently doing strong foundation planning and implementation in math. Now, they have done strong foundation planning in previous years for English language arts. My question would be as far as eligibility to do, I'm assuming they would be able to do implementation for English language arts since they hadn't done it, or we could apply for that.
Yeah, hi, Chloe. That's a great question. Yeah, so for Strong Foundations implementation, any district can apply. So it does not their previous participation in any of the grant opportunities, whether it be LASO Cycle 2 or LASO Cycle 1 or CRIMSY, or any of the other ways they may participated, they are eligible to apply for Strong Foundations implementation. And I don't know if you want to confirm the Strong Foundations planning side of that question.
Sure, Christy, thanks. Chloe, you're correct. So right now we're still offering 2 content areas for Strong Foundations planning, literacy and math. So they can't redo one that they have already done. So if they have done both of those for this next LASO cycle, they wouldn't be able to apply for planning.
Okay, great. I don't know if since I can just continue that question, since we are currently doing LASO Cycle 3, and I would believe we got the tech lending this past year and we did receive the AP Computer Science, would we be able to reapply under LASO Cycle 3 this year or no?
So in terms of applying again, refer back to the one pagers and what we know so far for TLG wouldn't be for the same devices if you have already, but I have to double check with you with that in terms of those pieces. There's also other smart devices that would be you would be able to apply for, and then I could also check to see if you apply for a certain grade. If now you can apply for a different grade, that I don't know offhand. And then also for APCSP, if you're adding a course in I want to say in a new high school, if you will, that would also be allowed. But in terms of the same support for the same course, I think maybe what you're asking, that is something I'll have to double check with the initiative lead.
Okay.
So Chloe, is that what you're asking? Is this for a new high school? The same course, same?
I can find out. I need to check with our director of advanced academics just to clear it out.
Sure. And in the meantime, Chloe, I've captured your question and I will get back to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Donna, would you like me to take questions? Would you like me to take the question from the chat about ESF FSG?
Yes, please, Scott. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, Christy. So the ESF FSG 24-26 will be the last ESF FSG. We launched it in a LASO style in terms of like sending it out in the Qualtrics survey, but it wasn't part of the greater LASO structure that the SI grants will be in this year. So the funds that used to support ESF FSG are now going to fund the instructional leadership pathways. So instructional leadership grant, which is previously called Total Till, now Instructional Leadership Grant, and the SIPLC SFI grant.
I have a question about the School Improvement PLC supports. I'm wondering if it will follow a similar structure to what we have in what's currently called Texas Lesson Study, that work that we are doing, or is it going to look different?
Scott, did you want me to take that one or did you want to take it? Okay, great.
Go ahead, Christy.
Yeah, so they'll while there will be similarities to the Texas Lesson Study Framework and guidelines, there will be additional alignments that solely apply to Strong Foundations implementation, and we'll be sharing more information, Mindy, in the fall with ESCs and districts. So more information to come.
Thank you.
It's me again, Jennifer Jones, Region 7. Can districts apply for SFI and only implement skills, or do they have to implement knowledge and skills?
Hi, great question. Yeah, so for the K-5 OER product, they do need to implement both the skills and knowledge portion of the product.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And I will just answer the questions in the chat. Will there be additional general office hours once the grant opens and closer to the close of the application window? Absolutely. So we will give the application window a couple weeks to open and gathering questions, and then our first office hours will be in November, and we will also have office hours for each grant to be able to come ask for technical assistance. We will also have a general office hours for technical assistance. So help support with application. In terms of like Qualtrics, we can open a dummy application to show how the process of procedures of how to go through the application, and then anything else that comes up in terms of FAQs that are asked in our general webinar and program webinars, we will gather that information to be able to share out the information. So we will schedule office hours, as many as we do need, to be able to meet your needs and questions. And those will be held for ESCs and LEAs, just open to everybody to be able to come in for technical assistance. And also to note, Jenny, that the office hours after the grant opens means that after the program guidelines have been published and the webinars are in motion and have occurred. So that means that there will be more specific information we can dissect and go through. Additionally, we will have, once awarding occurs, like February, we'll have an office hours for the eGrants application portal and how to access those. And we'll have members of the grants team to be able to answer, almost like a workshop opportunity to answer questions and guide you guys, the LEAs, through the ADC process in eGrants. Does anybody want to have a walkthrough through our LASO 3 webpage and the ESC Toolkit resources that are available? Do you have any questions regarding that? Feel free to put the question in chat or just come off mute and request it.
Good morning. This is Jeannie East from Region 5, and I just received a question to ask. Can a school be designated ECHS and P-TECH at the same time? Do you know?
Yes, the school campus could have an ECHS program and a P-TECH program at the same time.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, everyone. So I do have our director over TLG, Colin Dempsey, here to be able to answer the question that was posed earlier regarding TLG. So that would have been from, I believe, Chloe. If you would like to re-ask that question, Colin is here to answer.
It was actually me, Jennifer.
Oh, sorry, Jennifer.
That's okay. I was asking if the funds for the tech lending grant can be allocated towards infrastructure and networking. Sometimes our districts don't have all the infrastructure and networking in order to have be able to support the tech that the students will be receiving from the grant.
Unfortunately, no. It's only for direct student hardware or possibly if they need like the MiFi device, right? The little hockey pucks that are sometimes given out for that, or USB thumb drives. However, what you just described is sometimes an allowable expense in the Instructional Materials and Technology Fund. So if they are looking to build out some tech-related infrastructure, then that's a possible source of funds not related to this grant.
Thanks, Colin.
So to everyone on this call, just looking at our participants and the questions that are asked and answered, we'll probably stay on until about 11:30 to give back everybody time if there are no other questions that we can answer. And I will stay on the call and keep this open for anybody planning on attending late. And then if there are any questions that are asked and we provide answers to them, I can share that back out to you. So we don't all have to sit here until the full hour to be able to take advantage of the information asked and answered here. Great question, Jennifer Connor. Where can we access the recorded video? It is being recorded, so once I get that thumbnail, then I will work to get that to you, to whoever attended this office hours. And feel free to drop off at any point. Don't feel that you have to stay here for the entire time. Again, we will have additional opportunities to engage with the LASO team during program webinars, general webinars, and of course, additional office hours. And our emails as posted are always open, and please note that we can answer them at a high level until the grant opens, and specific details about it we may not be able to answer due to it being a competitive grant, but we will do our best to be able to provide you resources to guide you. You're all welcome. So I had some questions in the chat. Our initial leads might pop off, but we'll be able to tag them to come back in if you have any questions. And then I'll go ahead and open up the viewing portal, if you will, to the ESC resources, and we can review them. And then feel free, again, if you have any questions, we'll pause and take in those questions. And then issue of leads, feel free to attend to your other duties, trying to get LASO 3 off the ground, and that I can ping you with any questions to come back in. So thank you all for being here. In the meantime, let's go ahead and go through our ESC resources. Okay, so where I gather the information is, let me find our website. In just a moment. Okay, so everything that we have It comes from our LASO 3 website. I'm very proud of this as I work really hard to make sure that we have all the information for you readily available. And feel free for any areas that you find discrepancies. We're human and we miss some things, and we will get that done in within the day to correct it. So I thank you for that. So here, when you look at the communication roadmap, you can also access it through the links. If it's linked here, that means that it is available. And if it's not linked, that means it has not been presented yet. And then we have our portfolio. Again, note that it is tentative until the portfolio is released in October. Anything can happen. We're working really hard at getting it completely solidified at that point. Our webinars, the general webinar and the program specific webinars, these are the registration links. And then office hours will be added. So here's the ESC toolkit. So here are the resources. So let me share with you one thing about the resources. And Jennifer Jones, I'm going to address your page 7 as a direct question. So let me go to the grant specific one pagers and we'll come back to the others. So anything that you see that has a link, yes, the software usage scoring attachment shows a SharePoint error because it will be attached within the application itself to be able to share it with everyone. Let me go to it. I don't have page numbers on my screen, but here we go. So so what I will have to do is work with the team to get a template to be able to share out so you can be able to see it. So yeah, any links like this are not live yet until the program guidelines are released, and that's where it holds. So that is forthcoming. So let's dive into the one pagers. If you notice anything here that is shaded, that means we have revised it. We are streamlining our beginning of grant to be close to the award date. Now remember that the grant funds cannot be drawn down until NOGOs are issued, and the NOGO window runs through May. But you can go back in, if you will, if let's say this is March 1st, and then you can have POs that are dated that March 1st. They cannot just be drawn down at that point. So we've revised this a bit. So anytime you see a gray box, you will see that it's been changed. So because this is tentative until it opens, we expect to be able to revise things as we do, add more information and more specifics. And you'll see here on anything that is posted when it was revised. So if you have a former version, just know, please go to the webpage and grab the most current one. These take you down to the 3 areas that we have our guidance. So what we've been able to do is same thing as last year. This is not a new document, but for those of you who may be new, high-level program description. These are taken from the program guidelines as a high-level overview. It doesn't have every single information. Program guidelines are 15 pages or so. This gives you what you would need to do to use as a resource to determine, is this grant a good fit? When you're looking at your LEAs and trying to help them, if you're asked to do so, it's giving you like, okay, what grants would be good for my districts? And then so eligibility criteria is listed here. So some of the questions that were asked before, we have some information here. And so like they're not eligible to apply for the same content area, but prior grantees are eligible to apply for a new content area. So you'll see that in Strong Foundations Planning. And then this best fit for LEAs are directly from the best fit guidance doc, and I'll just toggle over to it. This was released and posted in September and shared with the ESC core group. And so when we get to like these questions, that is what you see here. Oh, now I lost it. In this section. The funding estimates are tentative until we are finalized with our portfolio. That's why you have it. But this is what we estimate our best judgment on what they will be. And then these key program commitments are not all of it, but those are the high level ones that the initiative leads had grabbed to be able to give the LEAs and the ESC folks and a glimpse into what commitments will be expected. So anything in terms of time commitments or approval by board or anything else, what they'll have to do, what committees they may have to be able to join and produce or fidelity of information, FOI, fidelity of implementation expectations will also be listed here. This link right now just goes to the SAPL webpage because this is not finalized yet. We are gathering all of those. And as you know, all ESCs are an approved provider. So you are listed in that, but the direct link will be changed to that document once it is finalized. And then of course the contact information. So this is for each grant, there is a page of information. And some I'll share out that new section that we have in terms of the do it now. This was brought forth by last year's reflections and suggestions for improvement, that if there is an action to consider, and that's like the one that Jennifer had posed in terms of this scoring attachment, to be able to grab it and do. So we will figure a way to get this to you to make it accessible. And then, so this is something that can be prepared ahead of time. ECHS also has, and PTEC also has some, that if there is an MOU or other considerations, to be able to do it now and prepare for the October 14th launch date. So that is one of our resources. Do we have any questions regarding this or anything else you would like to clarify? Okay, I'm going to go on to the best fit guidance document. So within these, again, stating that each grant has best fit criteria. So of course we can't tell an LEA this would be your best fit, you know, please apply for this, but we can share out what the grant's goals are for it to see if the goals for the LEA is going to align, to be able to say, okay, this grant SFI School Improvement PLC supports, as an example, is a great grant for any LEA who would like additional implementation supports, who would like the facilitation of professional learning communities, or extra support for CSI, TSI, ATS campuses. Now, this also saying in here, it's for Title I and federally identified campuses that are participating in Strong Foundations implementation. So this is a separate grant that it runs alongside of and to support SFI implementation, but from the lens of school improvement. So this is part of where your ESF FSG is lying, and the other one is in the instructional leadership, also known as Total TIL. So this is also a standalone grant, but for PLC supports for LEAs. And then going back to, let's see here. This is at a high level what the eligibility and prioritization will, and it's not linked because it's not finalized, but what we're trying to do is answer two questions. Am I eligible for this grant, and what are my chances of being awarded? So what we're fine tuning right now is trying to truncate the eligibility criteria for all the different grants. So for instance, grades K through 5 are only within here, and I have to change, revise this accordingly if changes have been made, but it's not eligible for APCSP. It is for ADSE, so that's where I would also have to change. But that's where we're looking at going now. For ADSE, it's for other grade levels as well, so I haven't completed it. So I'm just sharing it out, being very raw and transparent. What we're looking at also blending in the prioritization. So what are the prioritization tiers of those areas? And so we have different categories like low performing or low star scores. We are not calling it, I'm going to cross this out, the F-rated district because we don't have those ratings, but we do have to look at the needs. Oops, I just messed that up. So apologies, this is a live document. So the F-rated would not be, ready to do that. What we're going to look at, we're going to look at a proxy for that piece of it. And then also it might look like this, a cluster map of looking at, okay, so if you have low low star scores, what grants are best fits for you, and most likely to apply for. Any questions about that? And again, that's a high level preview because it's still in production. When we go to our FAQ doc, so this is coming also, and I think it's right here. So again, revisions are occurring, but what this does is it takes the information that was asked, the questions that were asked in LASO Cycle 2, to be able to bring it forth in case you have the same questions or your LEA has the same questions. And we've categorized it by type. So this is eligibility first. And close your eyes if scrolling is going to give you a headache. Application related questions. And then we can't go into funding really. So there isn't any funding pieces because we don't know. The program guidelines aren't officially posted yet. There are some of it, like in terms of things that we can share out with you. What's the difference between direct grant, in kind, allowable, unallowable, and then also like competitive review. What does that look like? And then we go into the different grants. Again, we're not going to release this until the initiative leads have an opportunity to revise and make sure that even though it was last year's FAQs, that it is revised for this year's questions as much as they can. And it goes through all of the different areas separated by, separated by program. So any questions about this or anything else that you would like to be added to this that would be helpful for you? Because it's still in the production phase. That and also with the prioritization eligibility. It's meant to be a high level overview, but transparent. And the information in it is nothing hidden or that we can't share with you. It's what's going to be in the program guidelines in terms of the scoring and eligibility and prioritization. But we wanted to give you, to give you the tools that you needed to be able to ask and answer questions from your LEAs in terms of, is this grant the best fit for me? Or we really want to help support LEAs not having to apply for everything and taking the time to apply for everything if one is not a good fit. For instance, if they are not Title I and they are not a school improvement campus, then they should not be applying for the two new school improvement grants, the SFI school improvement PLC supports, and also the instructional leadership, because those are only for Title I and school improvement designated campuses. So others that take the time to apply will not be awarded and not eligible to apply. So I've said a lot, I've shared a lot, high level overview. So is there anything that you have additional questions on or would like to see? Seems like no questions, no further questions. So action items on my part as I work towards closing us out for today is I will work to getting you the resources shared today emailed out to participants. And then also within the recording, be able to share that as well for those that registered but were not able to attend. I couldn't capture, but somebody was on an airplane, and I thank them for their effort to join us, but want to have the information readily provided to them. I'm also looking at, if I can find where I have it, I think I just closed it. But on our webpage, again, we will share out all the information that we come up with that will be able to help you. And according to this communication roadmap, you'll see what will be released at that time. So at this point, if you're still here and don't have any other questions, feel free to drop off. I will stay on till 12 and capture any other questions and answers and share those back with you in an ESC office hours FAQ. Thank you for all your love, and really thank you for all your support in what you're doing to help LEAs be able to access the grants that are best fitting for them. We do have additional surprises, hoping that we're going to get those launched and be able to share out in October. We will share out with ESC Core during our next meeting any additional information that comes up and other resources that we can put together. Bye, everyone.